hardly ever bring the results which is anticipated by those who start a war. So those are the really naive people. Peacemakers like you, Shishi, are the brave people of this world. So please tell us how we can all stand up for peace.
Namaste. Your Excellency, Madam Tatiana, and Your Excellency, our Ambassador of India, Mr. Pandeyji, and my previous speaker, Your Excellency, Loreton, and of course, Eric Solheim, who is my long friend from a long time. And all of us here today, it's a great pleasure to begin this as part of the celebration of 75 years of India's independence. See, today we live in a world which is interdependent. From independence to interdependence is what we have realized in this century. The word of this century is we are all dependent on each other. I would like to start with a personal note about Mahatma Gandhi, who was spearheading the India's independent movement. You know, I heard from my teacher who was with him for 40 years an incident which is very inspiring. It was sometime in the 40s, Mahatma Gandhi was traveling in a train up the hill of Darjeeling. It's a hill station north of India. And suddenly it happened that the engine and the coaches got disconnected. The engine went ahead and the coaches started sliding backward. So there was a tremendous crisis. I mean, people came to know about this, and there was such an uproar and insecurity. People are worried. And Mahatma Gandhi, with my teacher, he's telling him, come on, take dictation. So he used to be his postman. He used to write letters for him. So he was called Bangalore. He was from Bangalore. So he was giving him dictation in the South Indian languages. So he asked him, Bangalore, take dictations. Then my teacher told him, Bapu, you know what's happening? We may not be alive. All the coaches are sliding backward. And the engine has gone further. And there is no way we can reconnect or stop this. And it's a steep, it's a steep hill. We are on top of the hill. Any time, it's question of life and death. We will not be alive any moment. You know what Mahatma Gandhi said? Suppose we are saved, then you would have wasted all this time. So if we die, we die. But when we are alive, why do you have to waste thinking, being anxious about it? Take dictation. So he said, my master used to tell me, teacher used to tell me that, you know, my hands were shivering, shaking, but this old man is telling me take dictation. I was taking dictation of the, replying to the letters. I mean, no, people come together when there is crisis, when they feel threatened, or when they're wise. When they understand we are all interdependent. You just say that particular religion is in trouble, you will see people get together and pelt stones and they are ready to give their life. And this is what happens in all conflicts and war zones. Suddenly a threat perception is brought and say, hey, look, someone is out to get you. You better be careful. Now, come on, you have to fight for it. Then people put their 100%. I have a question. Can they not come together for something positive? something that is creative, something that can create harmony in society? Yes, they can, provided they are strong mentally. They don't just get swayed away by the so-called news. Many times false news float around, rumors float around. We get sucked by it. And this is what I have seen in the past so many years. The conflicts all happen when the trust is broken or the communication breaks down among people. With social media, you have both. It's a double-edged sword. On one side, you get the right information. It's very good. On the other side, lot of rumors and false news spread around. And that can create a huge uproar. What do? We need to see that post-pandemic era, we have to see that the people become strong from within. There was a story, there was an incident long back when there was slavery around the world. The slaves were being sold. There was one man, very robust, tall, and looked very good, very vibrant, resilient. He was in the slave market and he was shouting, "Here is a slave for sale. Who wants to buy me?" Nobody would buy it. Nobody wanted the slave to be so strong, so challenging. He happened to be a yogi. He used to do yoga. Even in the worst time of crisis, he did not lose his inner strength, the mind, which is the basis of our action. If our mind is clear, if it's strong, it can carry along a weak body. But if mind is weak, it can't carry along even a strong body. So mental strength is needed, and that can come when people who are like-minded, who support positivity, who have right intention and a big vision, can come together and say, "I stand up with you. I stand up for peace." Standing up for peace is necessary. I want to also remind you one of the crises that happened in Colombia. The number of people who voted against peace were very small. It's less than 20%. But the 80% people who were for peace, they didn't bother to go and vote for it when there was referendum in Colombia. So the referendum had to put away, because we know that a few intelligent people thought, yes, we need peace. We cannot go back to that same barbaric world where, you and me and this sort of back and forth, fueling the conflict. So the negative voices, though small, are very strong. You can hear them very loud and everywhere. What is needed now today, post-pandemic era, is the sane voices need to become strong and loud. There is no dearth of sanity in the world. There are wise people everywhere, but somehow they sit back. They are not so proactive. And post-pandemic situation calls for action from all of us who care, who have concern for the planet, who are really worried about the welfare of whole humanity. The world is one family, as Eric already has mentioned, and our ancient civilization have been saying this. And it's a common sense. And the pandemic has shown us that. a virus which you can't even see, you don't know how to fight with this, and it has engulfed the whole planet. Everybody got affected by it. One, if I can call it good thing, is that people started reassessing their own life. They started thinking about what is that I want. The rat race that we were into has somewhere taken a break, and we had to think back, what is that I want, how I want to manage myself. World Health Organization has declared the biggest challenge post-pandemic is mental health issues. This has caused two extreme situations. Either people are getting so depressed, every 45 seconds, last year in 2021, there was one suicide or attempt for suicide. This is something a civilized society cannot tolerate. We can't have our people kill themselves for no reason, or whatever reason it is. So depression on one side, on the other side, there is aggressive attitude, aggression. At the drop of a hat, people start becoming so aggressive. And divorce cases have increased throughout the world. As the statistics says, all this indicates to us that we need to educate people how to handle their mind, their emotions. See, neither at school nor at home, nobody teaches us how to handle our emotions. You feel bad and you go on with that bad feeling for maybe hours or days or even weeks or months. This is where our volunteers and our foundation come into play. They say, look, your breath has a secret. Every emotion has a definite pattern in your breath. By changing the breathing pattern and doing some exercise with the breath, you can change the way you feel. Of course, in the theaters, they teach this. When you want to show anger, you have to breathe differently. When you have to show love, you have to breathe differently. This is all in the theatrical school, they teach people, but not in the normal school, colleges, where mental hygiene or mental health is not being attended to. Mental health and behavioral science, this is another thing. When we behave, are we social? Are we socially acceptable behavior? Or what is it? This is not being given prominence. So usually in schools and colleges, someone is very aggressive and violent, they are considered machos, or they are considered, this is sign of machoism, masculinity, sign of heroism. This had to be dealt. I would say this in India also, and in all the Asian countries, that masculinity should be connected to compassion and broad-mindedness and the smiles one has rather than the anger and venom one has to others. See, independence is a sacred thing for every individual. And we have to be independent thinkers. And we need independence within ourselves. We need independence from our negative emotions. Many times we are under the clutches of these emotions and we suffer. We don't know how to get out of it. And we reel in those emotions, and one person not feeling mentally normal or behaviorally okay in a family disturbs the entire family. Nobody can be happy in the family, isn't it? And if few families like that in the whole community, there is negative vibes, negative energy there. So we need to do something to make people understand the value of their thoughts, their intentions, their feelings. and how they need to harness themselves into, more socially acceptable and personally beneficial roles that nature has provided us. Nature has given us in abundance. We only need to wake up and see. And the pandemic had made us more aware of this. So when you are locked up in your home for so long, for so many days, you need to think about, oh, who am I? What am I with? Death is around the corner. How do I handle it? How do I handle myself and my close ones? How do I, relate to our neighbors? Irresponsible behavior of one person can impact so many around. These lessons, I hope people have learned to a great extent. If someone has not learned, it's time to make them aware. I see inside every individual there is a beautiful person waiting to be uncovered. And that can happen when nations and societies and communities collectively come together and help each other out. Not just point fingers to each other, but understand the human psychology. To conclude, I would say, I would also like to narrate one incident. This was when I inaugurated the World International Yoga Day at the United Nations New York headquarters. Then Secretary General Ban Ki-moon was there. I led them through a short meditation of 10 minutes, I think 10, 15 minutes, something like that. You know what His Excellency, the Secretary General said? He said, Gurudev, we need to do this exercise before every negotiations. Because most of our negotiation will not break down, will not fall apart. People, it's communication. When our mind is calm, we are serene, collective, we are able to hear others better. We are able to communicate ourselves better to them and see the situation from a very different perspective. So multiple angles must be taken when we want to establish peace in the world, whether it is a group of nations or communities which are at loggerheads with each other, or people with economic interest who try to instigate different mindsets in different groups and societies or ideologies. All this can be handled when we have that broader vision that life is sacred. We are here for a short period of time. We want to leave a better world for the future generation. We want to leave a world which is economically sound, environmentally safe. Water pollution, soil pollution, air pollution, noise pollution, electronic pollution. These are things that we need to really take care. And it cannot happen just by some laws that the governments make from somewhere. It has to be people's movement. Similarly, I feel the peace is also something when people are so despondent, they feel helpless and hopeless. When they stand up and say, I stand up for peace, it empowers them and it brings their inner strength, and collectively we'll be able to influence our atmosphere to be more positive. And in a positive atmosphere, only good things can happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gurudev, for these very inspiring words. There will now be an opportunity for a few questions from the audience. However, I will have to leave because I will give a lecture tomorrow morning at, of all places, the Norwegian Defence Academy. I would much prefer to be here. but I have a long time promise to do that, and I have to catch the flight. But I'd like to sum up what I think you propose, and that is, in my understanding, a true Gandhian movement. Because you ask people to sacrifice, or Gandhiji asked to sacrifice himself, not to sacrifice others. That's a huge difference. He believed that by improving himself, he was also improving society, so he made a link between the personal and the political. And he firmly believed that you need to set the example, you need to be the change you want to see in the world. You cannot just change yourself and go into yourself. You are in a society with others. That is this mixture of the personal and the view for the society, which is so true Gandhian, and that's what I think you want to inspire. With this, I stand for peace. So I wish you great success with this, and I'm at your disposal to support in any possible way. And let's all stand for peace that's so needed in this world. So thank you so much. I have to rush to the airport.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you. Thank you, Eric, for the wonderful moderation. And we do appreciate that you need to go to airport to catch a flight. And thank you for your time on the dais. As promised by Eric, that there will be a question and answer session. We will be able to take only 2 questions because of the shortage of time. And we request all of you, if you want to raise a question, please raise your hand. Anyone who wants to ask any question to Gurudev or any panelist on the dais, please raise your hand. Yes, the gentleman, please. Switch on your mic and raise your question. Go ahead, we can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay. Thank you very much, Gurudev, for this inspiring speech. And I am deeply moved by your sentence. Everybody knows in his heart what needs to be done. Why do you think people are then, especially some powerful people, doing the opposite, and how can you reach them?
I think this question can have many answers. It's not one. This is like a path in which we can tread many a time. You know, how can I reach out to those who are sitting and having good intention, not being active? We can get many ideas, and we should imply all those ideas, whichever is practical. Now, I would say that's why we started this campaign, I Stand Up for Peace. So let them say, I commit for peace. And then, you know, we can see how they can influence people around them to get out of the despondency or feeling of helplessness, to say, yes, collectively we can all do something. You know, everybody can do some little thing, whatever it is, and it all can add to a bigger vision and bigger solution to the problem.
We will now request for the second question, and will be gender balanced. If any lady wants to ask any question, please. Any lady. Please, go ahead.
Pranam, Gurudev.
Yeah.
I would like to ask a question which sort of most of us go through. What is the way that one can defeat self-doubt? Thank you.
You must understand doubt. Doubt is always about something positive. If someone tells you, I love you so much, you ask them, really? When someone says, I hate you, never say, you never doubt that, right? You never doubt your weaknesses, but you doubt your strength. You never doubt your sadness, but you doubt your happiness. You never doubt the good work of somebody. You never doubt the bad work of someone, but doubt their good deeds, good intentions. So if you understand doubt, you will rise above it.
Thank you so much, Gurudev, for your very inspiring words.